I'm Alex. I'm one of the composers on Arcane.
I'm also Alex. I go by Mako as well, and we're here for the Arcane Faniversary event. We performed like a small suite of our music at an event that Deadline put on recently. This was not an Arcane event. It was like for film and television music. We're like in the lobby for like a good 30 minutes after the end of the concert. Arcane fans coming up with like actual merch and stuff for us to sign. It was really cool.
People were coming up to me afterwards just to say like that they really enjoy the music or that they really enjoy the show or that they're sad that there's no season 3.
That's probably my favorite part of the whole experience. Just getting to share and witness the love of, you know, the fans and everything.
Yeah, when we decided to bring back the bridge as the outro to season 2, I thought that was an interesting choice.
Is that singing?
In a sort of bookend kind of way, I thought it felt really nice. And it was, I think, one of the more recognizable, stronger melodies in the show, and one that we didn't use very often. I think in season 2, it shows up 3 or 4 times max. So I felt like when we did use it, we wanted to be a key pivotal moment.
Is that a wild ring?
I have no idea what that is.
You walk along the edge of danger.
In terms of a song kind of becoming a character in a scene, the Wood Kid song To Ashes and Blood in season 2, what Christian's strategy was to not play traditional action music at all. He specifically wanted all of this subtext of this Shuriman people that are chanting this warning to these characters. It's just an Easter egg of all this deep, rich lore. I think that was one of my proudest collaborations in season 2 that felt like it was a season 2 thing where we only could get there because of what we had experienced in season 1. We have to invent a language, and I'm learning a lot about what even the consequences of them playing with this anomaly energy are.
You know, this is a big, pretty brutal fight. These need to work together and not feel like they're trying to tell 2 different stories.
What have we done?
À la base, c'est quelque chose qu'on a déjà vu dans la saison 1 quand Victor travaillait sur l'export. Tout est lié à cette anomalie qui est en fait un truc qui est au centre de tout. En fait, il y a toujours ce même motif, cette espèce de motif fractal de plein de filaments ou de ronds les uns à côté de les autres, etc. Qu'on voit quand il y a de l'escorisation, quand Victor va soigner des gens et qu'il va y avoir ces motifs métalliques qui vont se répandre sur leur corps. C'est un motif récurrent qui existe à toutes les échelles, c'est le principe des fractales. Donc on est vraiment dans l'infiniment grand, mais aussi dans l'infiniment petit. Il y avait toujours un moyen d'essayer d'en caser quelque part si on voulait, et aussi très souvent en spirale, avec plus ou moins une spirale de Fibonacci, un petit nombre d'or de temps en temps. On n'est pas allé trop loin parce que ça peut vite être handicapant, et on raconte une histoire avant tout, et on fait du divertissement avant tout.
In season 1, we were a little terrified of like the diegetic cues, like whenever you're in a bar in the brothel.
All you're going to be hearing is bass filtering from next door because they're playing in the next room down the hall.
And then in season 2, we started having a lot more fun with, let's actually like dig in a little to these moments, especially in episode 7 of season 2, create fake bands and fake songs.
Hey, Gar. Oh, do the Chem Sisters have another show coming up?
This needs to be believable as a record that somebody would intentionally press play on a jukebox, because we actually see a jukebox. So we need to make it sound kind of like a semi-real song that doesn't sound like the same artist as the last one we heard the last time somebody played a record at the last drop. I remember when we were talking about what pieces of music to put on the Spotify releases, there was a conversation about some of these, and it was like, well, you know, they were produced well enough to exist in their original context, which is down the hall and with the door closed. And once you take those masks off, you're like, this needs a lot more work before we'd be comfortable sharing this with the world.
You must declare martial law. Appoint a general to lead until this threat is vanquished. Caitlin Kiraman.
Yeah, I sort of created a satellite Caitlyn theme for season 2. This is still Caitlyn in somewhat of a resemblance of her season 1 self, where she's got sort of a pure intent and she's clearly in Piltover. But a lot of these characters are now going on arcs that are very antithetical to what we had established them in season 1.
Her character in season 2 goes on a bit of a different journey than what we see in season 1. So it felt like the theme was in many ways less applicable to the storytelling in season 2. That big scene at the end of episode 3, one of my early versions actually did use the season 1 Caitlyn theme. Yes, this is a key moment for Caitlyn, but it's happening to her. This is like, she's almost powerless. She's being thrust into this position. So it shouldn't feel like a big moment for Caitlyn. It should feel like something happening to Caitlyn, almost like, without as much of her say.
Victor was the first thing I ever wrote, and the first thing I ever did was work on like one chapter of that sort of Victor suite that you were making.
We had developed character themes for several of the characters. Victor was one that we used a lot because it was a nice melody that seemed to work well. So while Victor has a huge role in season 2, it always felt like the theme was more capturing the humanity of Victor. How can we tastefully inject it in a way so that it feels like there's continuity, but it doesn't feel like it's contradicting anything?
You must go, Jace.
In one of the last cues in episode 9, when Victor and Jace have their sort of moment of reconciliation, this cue that sort of has this perpetual motion machine going on in the violin and orchestra and synthesizers, but then at sort of like the key moment in the middle of the scene, the Victor theme comes back in this pretty grandiose presentation that I think is probably like the biggest version of it you hear in the show.
We finish this together.
En fait, en regardant les storyboards de Z, on s'est dit, mais en fait, on veut que la séquence ressemble à ça.
Moi, j'ai rendu, si tu veux, des traits au compo. Ils ont vraiment fait un super taf. Eux, ils ont mis toute une profondeur, des textures. Ils ont vraiment enrichi l'image. Très graphique, presque un peu enfantin, mais en même temps qui dénote pas trop avec le reste de l'exone qu'on a déjà mis en place.
Il y a des plans où il se passe beaucoup de choses, où chaque image est travaillée différemment de celle d'avant et celle d'après.
Il y a tout en fait, il y a tous les départements là-dedans. Et en fait, c'est le cumul en fait de tous ces effets-là qui ont fait que ça a donné ce style-là en particulier sur l'exone.
I definitely had some like Vander stuff. I don't remember if we did anything specific for like Warwick.
Season 1, episode 3 scene with Deckard going,
right,
where he was like hit by Shimmer. And
was that one of the keys I did? And
yeah, it was one of the keys you did.
And then
like,
people said that it was using like,
using the Warwick theme. And we're like, well,
I was like, cool.
I was like, wait, let me go back and listen to these again. I can see what they're getting at, but no, it wasn't intended.
Yeah. A lot of it is pre-planned, but there's like a couple things where it's like people go like, oh my God, the way, and I was like, cool, yep, totally, whatever you say.
You really think I needed all the guards at the Hex Gates?
Kate Vi, like song, fantastic. That's one of the few that like, we just had them write it completely. The producers that worked on it were incredible, but I had to score the scene to picture. And it's a really funny psychological thing. You have such a weird parasocial relationship with the characters because you've been with them for so long. And I was just hyped for them.
While you were gone, I saw someone.
I don't fucking care.
The funny thing about that scene is that when we were watching the premiere, nobody could hear the music because the whole theater was just erupting in applause when they were, once it happened. Towards the end of season 2, there's just these moments of realization of like, we just finished the last scene that features this character that I feel like I've said goodbye to a friend.
Yeah.
I'm not usually thinking about it in such an explicit way, but I remember just like, oh great, this scene's finally working. I don't get to do any more music for Heimer anymore.
Yeah, that was the big one I remember for you.
Yeah.
I must say that since I've met you, lad, I've truly lived.
We're literally just like you. We were crazy about this show and the characters. I don't know how many more opportunities like that I'll ever have in my life. So it's just one of those things that you really cherish. It created such a deep, indescribable sensation of meaning to be working on something that was as sort of cared for and beloved by people.
Thank you to the fans. It's been an honor and a privilege. People say that, but it's just mind-blowing to think that like, yeah, this thing that you were working on in your room, millions of people have heard it. And the positive response has been extremely humbling and it does have a bit of that lightning in a bottle feel.
Let 'em turn. Thank you very much.
For me, it's kind of a little bit more emotional. I really like Arcane because of the amount of grief it shows and the representation all the grief gets. My brother was actually a huge League of Legends fan, and he passed away a couple years ago after the season 1 of Arcane, and it made season 2 just so much more impactful for me, especially with all the loss that Jinx had to go through. So yeah, it means a lot to me to show a really good representation of grief throughout the whole show.
Not Jinx, Powder, sorry. She exploded, everyone, her whole family. And I think that whole scene was emotional, and tears were definitely sweating out of my eyes.
但是让我印象最深刻的是，希尔科被失控的金克斯用枪射中后，他并没有怪金克斯，反而是说出了“你是完美的”来安慰金克斯。那一瞬间让我泪流满面。
所以有一个画面也是很击中我的，就是金克斯在跟他姐姐最终在第1季的尾声要交锋，然后他问他姐姐说：“如果你能做出怎么样的选择，你的妹妹就会回来。”但是他姐姐因为自己的爱，因为自己的其他的纠缠，没有这么做。
Іша. У мене є дитина також. І в момент, коли сталася історія з Ішею, як вони зустрілися Джинкс, потім як Іша віддала життя своє, це торкнулося мене як маму найбільше.
De mon côté, ce sera toujours par rapport à Victor, parce que c'est un personnage qui est scientifique, handicapé, introverti, comme moi. De l'avoir développé et la façon dont il exprime ses insécurités, ça m'a vraiment parlé et touché. Et accessoirement, le fait que 21 Pilot fasse sa musique, c'est mon groupe préféré, du coup, c'était très marquant.
还是第1部末尾，就是他们Jinx 和 Wei 他们一起去救父亲的那一段是非常感人的。可能他们之间存在一些误解和误会，但是为了一个最终的目标呢，就是说这样一个家庭的大爱，他们一起去并肩作战，所以这一点是我非常感动的。
Just one word, fantastic.
I'm sorry. Let's go lesbians.
I'm so honored to be part of the community, to be surrounded by people who love the show just as much as I do. I am always just so glad to be surrounded by all these people who just have so much passion for the show.
Ce que je pourrais dire au reste de la communauté d'Arcane, ce serait de continuer à faire vivre l'univers, même si la série est finie, parce que c'est quand même un univers très complet, mais que même juste discuter avec quelqu'un des personnages, ils sont complets encore une fois, donc c'est quelque chose. N'hésitez pas à continuer de faire vivre un univers même quand c'est fini.
Si je pouvais dire quelque chose à toute la communauté d'Arcane, c'est que j'aimerais beaucoup qu'on fasse tous ensemble. Par exemple, comme je fais du cosplay, j'aimerais beaucoup le partager avec beaucoup de personnes. Déjà que je vois beaucoup de gens sur les réseaux sociaux, j'aimerais beaucoup qu'on en fasse tous ensemble, qu'on se partage tout ça, parce que c'est vraiment un super bonheur de pouvoir incarner des personnages qu'on aime bien. Donc, qu'on partage une petite passion tous ensemble.
能不能复活那个大头啊？求求你了，我知道那个班德尔城它可以复活的。